So,
Can I record or not?
yes, that's fine.
Okay.
So, Dave Jose is a mechanic. Josh Barnett is a gym owner. These are not lawyers. I'm not a lawyer either. Pastor, I used to coach football at Hilo High.
You're not just a pastor. You are a pastor.
Amen.
You're a servant of the Lord.
Yes, sir.
It's not just like diminished. Okay?
And for me, it's more so the power is here in the people. So even in that auspice, I'm seeing us as the same as far as we holding all political power of this state. I understand, and I received that, sir. Yes, sir. So with that, they had it's just a car mechanic and a gym owner, and they learned their constitution in the state of Arizona so they could serve their indentured servants. These affidavits. Go ahead, yeah, you come in, yeah. It's right. You come right here. And that's how they got the full forensic audit there. So that's where I learned this process from. So I'm going to go through common law based on the Bible, and then I'll go through our Bill of Rights, and then I'll go through different terms of affidavits, and then we'll actually go through the affidavit itself, so you guys understand what's happening. So common law is based on the Bible, 1611 King James. The first scripture, Genesis 1:26. The Bible says that God said, "Let us make man in our image and according to our likeness." Now that word image, one of the synonyms for the word image is the word character, or a fixture, like a bridge, or a statue, or letters A, B, C, D, or numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. So in other words, when he created us, even the Bible says, God says, "I'm the same yesterday, today, and forever." James 1:17 says, "There's no shadow or variation of turning with me." The same thing with these indentured servants. They should be the same as they are outside, as they are inside their offices. They should be the same kind of hele as they are when they say they don't believe in the mandates, as you are when you say you're endorsing this travel ban without a vaccine. So they should be one character. So God said, "Let's make man our image and according to our likeness." Likeness not only means to look like God, it means to function like God. Just like God spoke the world into existence, we said, hey, we spoke, let there be a legislative branch that houses 2 houses. Let there be an executive branch here in our state that houses a governor, lieutenant governor. Let there be a judicial branch that houses the courts. So same way God spoke that, the same way we spoke these branches into existence. That's what it is. So now we're going to go through this. With that, the importance of it is, it says, "Let them have dominion" in Genesis 1:26. Who's them? That's us. And so he said, "Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, and the beasts of the field." What is that? So the first one, we have dominion over the L, the land. The second one is the A, the air, the water. The third one is the W, the water. So in other words, he gave us jurisdiction over the law. But if you notice in that scripture, he never gave us dominion over other people. That's what these indentured servants are doing. So now we'll move to it. We're going to go here. So Article 1, Section 1, you can read with me right here. That's our state constitution. I'm going to show you guys where our power comes from. Article 1, Section 1, it says all political power of this state is inherent where? In the people. And the responsibility for the exercise thereof rests with who? The people. Then it says all government is founded on this authority. According to Black's law, it's this permission, on this consent, on this agreement. It's our permission that sponsors, it's our consent that empowers the government. Where do we get this from? It's from the Declaration of Independence. It says, when in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them to another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal stations into which the laws of nature and nature's God have entitled you. That's where power comes from. God entitled it to us. That's what it says in the Declaration of Independence. Then it goes on to say, it requires a decent respect for the opinions of mankind, requires them to make causes which impel them to the separation. What are these causes? We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men, vaccinated, unvaccinated, Japanese, Korean, Filipino, are created equal, that they are endowed with certain unalienable rights. What is an unalienable right? It's a right that cannot be taxed. It's a right that cannot be mandated. It's a right that cannot be prejudiced to me. It's a right that cannot be foreign to me. That's what an unalienable right is. And that says that, and to secure these rights, What are some of these rights? Life, liberty, property. And that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. What for? Deriving their just powers. Not just powers, but just powers. From the consent of the government. Is it kind of loud over there? Yeah. Or is it good? You guys want to shift over here?
You're doing fine.
Okay, yes sir, okay. So, they derive their powers from us. But it's not just powers, it's just powers. Thank you guys so much for fighting. So, that's where we get it. It's from the Declaration of Independence. So moving on, we got Article 1, Section 2. It's right here in our affidavit. You guys need to visualize. I'm right here on the first page. Article 1, Section 2, it says that all persons are free by nature, including the beeping of that truck, and are equal in their inherent, that means inheritance. It's an inheritance. And inalienable right. That's what I just quoted from the Declaration of Independence. It's an inalienable right. Among these rights are the enjoyment of life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, the acquiring, possessing of property. But watch this, it didn't stop right there. The main part of this section says, these rights cannot endure. These rights cannot endure unless who?
The people
The people do what?
recognize.
Recognize, discern, realize, see their corresponding obligations and responsibilities. It is our obligation. It is our responsibility. It is our duty to teach, to instruct, to rebuke these indentured servants. You are the bosses. They are the employees. You guys are the head honchos. You guys step into the room, they should shut up. They should listen. And we should speak. That's the way it should be. So we'll go on. We'll go to Section 4, but I'm going to quote Section 3. Section 3 says, equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the state on account of sex. But this is the main part. It says that the legislature shall have the power to enforce by appropriate legislation. It's not in the affidavit. I'm just quoting it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, no wonder.
So I actually have. I'm trying to slow myself down because I have all
You're doing fine. You're doing
the
fine.
legislature shall have the power to enforce by appropriate legislation. Who deems it appropriate? We do. But if we don't tell them what's appropriate or what's inappropriate, they're going to keep doing what they're doing.
Yep.
Right? So, appropriate legislation. Now we'll go to Article 1, Section 4. Article 1, Section 4 is right here. And it says that no law shall be enacted respecting an establishment of religion. Watch this. Or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. So people ask, should I submit a religious exemption? Now you can if you want, but when you submit a religious exemption, you're lowering your status. You're lowering your standing. You're lowering your jurisdiction. Because now it becomes a privilege. It's no longer a right. A privilege they can tax, a right they cannot. A privilege they can mandate, a right they cannot. Whereas in Article 1, Section 4, it's a right. So you have the highest status, the highest standing with your rights. Now it goes on to say, it says, nor be denied the equal protection of law, nor be or abridging the freedom of speech or the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, which we're doing right now, to what? Petition the government. How can we petition them? Sending in an affidavit. That's how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Now we can protest, we can send emails, we can call them to voice mailboxes that are full. The emails go to the junk boxes that they never get. Or they don't look at them, exactly. Whereas this is going to be a lawful mechanism to come at them. I'm going to explain that to you guys. The last one we have, Article 1, Section 5, it says no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor be denied the equal protection of law, nor be denied the enjoyment of the person's civil rights. Watch this. Or be what?
Discriminated
Against. You shouldn't be discriminated against. Why? In the exercise, because of your race, your religion. Now, if I can use that term loosely, according to my religion, I believe God made my immune system. I don't need a vaccine to help my immune system function properly. Or sex or ancestry. So in other words, they're discriminating against you when they're trying to mandate this for you at your work, at your schools. My kid has to get a vaccine to play football and play volleyball. I need a vaccine passport just to go inside Zippy's to get a bowl of chili with some extra mayonnaise. They're violating it. They're discriminating. That's what they're doing.
Yes.
And let's go through one more. This section 8. It says, no law, in the visual aid, I'm right here. No law shall be, no citizen shall be disenfranchised or deprived of any of the rights or privileges secured to other citizens, unless by the law of the land. So, how many of y'all feel disenfranchised sometimes?
Oh,
Yeah.
That's what it is. You're disenfranchised. Now, in the United States Constitution, now why do I use this? Let me go there. In Article 16, it's not in your affidavit, I'm just going to go off. In Article 16, Section 4 of our state constitution, that's the oath of office that our indentured servants swore. It says, I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend two documents, the United States Constitution and the Hawaii State Constitution. And I will faithfully discharge my duties to the best of my abilities. So because they swore an oath on those two documents, it's those two documents we use in this affidavit. Yeah, so we stay within that jurisdiction. Make sense? Trappy? Okay, so now watch this. In Article 14 of our state constitution, it says that they should have the highest moral standards. They should have the highest integral conduct. That word integral means integrity. One of the words for integrity means one. Where do we get that from? One of the main phrases that describes God in the Bible, he says, I am holy. I am one. I'm the same yesterday, today, and forever. There's no shadow or variation of turning with me. He is the same. The same way our indentured servants should be the same. Now, the reason why I quote that is because this emergency powers, the emergency authorization use, is based off of a 60-day perpetuating cycle that Governor Egan keeps implementing to move under the auspice of the color of law, to enforce this stuff on the people, these mandates. But we sent in a FOIA request to show, hey, state of Hawaii, do you guys have a test that isolates SARS-CoV-2? Well, in the FOIA response we got back from them, they said the Hawaii Department of Health has not isolated SARS-CoV-2 and has no white papers.
So this is all bogus.
It's all based off of assumption.
Oh.
It's all based off of hearsay. It's all fiction.
Oh my lordy.
It takes the permission, it takes the authority, it takes the consent of the people for them to keep doing what they're doing. If you guys have any questions, I'll answer them afterwards. And then, so we move. So now, watch this. So in our United States Constitution, Article 4, Section 2, Paragraph 1, we have what's called an immunity and privileges clause. This allows us to use, watch this. So we have 50 different state constitutions. But off of this immunities clause, we can use the 50 Bill of Rights from each state. Because according to that immunity clause, no citizen is better than the other one. Everyone's the same. Everyone has equal opportunity. That's why the immigration rate into the United States is 400%. The next country is 21%. People say, no, people want to come here. It's because of it's because of the rights that they have. So with that, because of that, we can use the Bill of Rights from each 50 states.
Come on.
So now we're going to pivot into different Bills of Rights. Right here in the affidavit, page 2, this one right here. Kentucky Constitution. Absolute and arbitrary power over the life, liberty, and property of free men exists where?
Nowhere.
Nowhere in a republic, not even in the largest majority. So watch this. We are not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic.
Yeah.
So let
Come
me
on.
break this down. Let me simplify it. A democracy, you would elect people to lord over you. Lord, if you want to use the term in the Bible, Adonai means owner. Whereas in a republic, res and publica. R-E-S, res, publica. Res means thing, publica means public. So in a republic, it's the things that are public. So the people we elect as indentured servants, they are not leaders. We elect these servants, they govern what is public. But what is private, my conscience, my kids, my house, my car, my finances, that's private, they do not govern. They should not touch. It should be off limits to them. They only govern what's public. These roads, make sure there's no potholes so I don't have to keep aligning my brakes. The electricity, the water, anything that's to deal with the public, they govern. Everything else, that's us. That's a republic. California Constitution, this last section of this affidavit on this page, it says a person may not be disqualified from entering or pursuing a business, profession, vocation, or employment because of sex, race, or what?
Creed.
Creed, according to Latin, it means what I believe in. It's my dogma. It's my doctrine. It's my faith. We're going to go to the next page. We're going to look at Missouri Constitution. So I'm here at the top in the digital aid. I'm right here. Missouri Constitution. And it says that all men and women have a natural and indivisible right to worship Almighty God according to the dictates of their own what? Conscience. But they didn't stop right there. Kept going. That no human authority can control or interfere with the rights of conscience. They're interfering with it.
Yes, they are.
They're manipulating it. That's what they're doing. And the reason why they don't know two things, either because they've never been taught by the people, it's our obligation and responsibility. It is our duty to teach, to instruct, to rebuke them. Or number two, their lawyers are counseling them another way. That's what's happening with most of these indentured servants. And they hide them from this. Now we're going to keep going. Texas Constitution, no citizen of this state shall be deprived of life, liberty, property, or privileges, or immunities, or in any manner disenfranchised except by the due course of the law of the land. Pennsylvania Constitution, I'm right here. You need visual aid. It says no attainder shall work corruption of what?
Blood.
Wow. So you see these vaccines. You know, if you study the misinformation, the scientists, they don't want you to hear. You see that the vaccines are touching on the blood. And we already have a Bill of Rights for that. Hawaii Constitution, I already quoted this one. Now we're going to go to declared rights with respect to schools, students, and staff. This is why you can send it to your schools. If you have a kid that goes to a charter school, a public school, private school, serve them with this as well. So within this California declared rights, we're going to go to the next page of the affidavit. I'm here. My California Constitution, Article 1, Section 28. I'm right here. I'm going to skip down to the last highlighted paragraph. The last highlighted paragraph. I'm going to go to Section E. E is an echo. Section E. And it says, Section E. As used in this section, a victim is a person who suffers direct or threatened, three things, physical, psychological, or financial harm as a result of the commission or attempted commission of a crime or delinquent what? Act. That's what these emergency powers are. They're delinquent acts under the color of law, under the auspice of I have all authority. No. Now we'll go to the next paragraph right here that's not highlighted.
Okay.
This one here, affiant. Now we're going to go through what we're declaring as affiants. Hopefully you guys are affiants here today. That's the people that's going to send affidavits. Affiant declares that the people are equally free and retain inherent God-given rights to all of the blessings of life, liberty, and safety, property, in the pursuit of happiness secured to all the people of the 50 Republican states with equal protections and that are explicitly defined in the several state constitutions interchangeably. Going back to the Immunity Clause of the United States Constitution, Article 4, Section 2, Paragraph 1, interchangeably as required in the Privileges and Immunities Clause, Article 4, Section 2. Next paragraph, second to last paragraph. The declared rights in the constitutions are the supreme law of the land. Any act, statute, code, non-positive law, program, mandate, or policy created or enforced must not infringe any declared rights of the people, the protectors and beneficiaries of the trust. Now, real quick, what is a trust? A trust is a document that entails or outlines the conduct of the trustees. That's what the United States Constitution and the White State Constitution are. There are two documents which are trusts. So who are the trustees? Who is it outlining for the conduct of, the way they're supposed to act and govern themselves? The trustees are indentured servants. It locks them in to a limited jurisdictional power. They have limited seats of power. And it's given by our restricted rights. What does that mean, restricted? It means we can always pull those rights back when we see fit. Now, we'll go to the last paragraph. The people possess the inherent, natural, unalienable right to worship Almighty God according to the dictates of their own conscience and understanding, regulated by the Word of God, when establishing the law of the land, known as the Constitution. Let's see. Make sure I got the right page. Known as the Constitution and the laws of nature's God. Remember, that's from the Declaration of Independence. Also known as common law. No religious qualification shall be required for any public office or employment, and no person or organization policies may excuse any acts of licentiousness. Now, some of the government officials, which have never read these Bill of Rights for our state or United States Constitution reform, most of them have not read it. They don't even know what's even in it. They move in licentiousness. What is licentiousness? It means the indulgence or the arbitrary will of an individual, that's these trustees, that's these indentured servants, without regard to ethics or what?
Law.
They have no regard for law. They have no regard for ethics.
They're lawless.
They're lawless. So they're exceeding their jurisdiction. They're moving in licentiousness. Furthermore, next paragraph, I, one of the people, in the conscience of my own religious dictates and beliefs, declare that the wearing of any cloth resembling a face veil that blocks the human airway from receiving the human body's ample supply of oxygen, or promotes the potential to harbor and cultivate harmful bacteria and viruses, the penetration of any orifice of the human body by an inanimate object outside of my own volition, my own choice, or the injection of any substance into the body that alters the natural immune system as created by God, any form of identification that is required to restrict or regulate any freedoms, liberties, movement, or participation in society is repugnant to a particular religious covenant or sect and declared rights. Please take further notice that in order to ensure tranquility, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our children, and to protect the best interest of the preservation of my body, my temple, the people shall not be deprived or abridged of any civil and declared rights on account of religious sentiments. And that's declared in Article 1, Section 4 of our state constitution, right? The one that's highlighted, no law shall be enacted respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, right? Keep going. Now we have legal notice and warning. We're gonna lock them in now with some legalities. I use that term very loosely. If something's legal for someone, it could be illegal for someone else, or if something's lawful for one, it's lawful for everyone. So what's the legal warning we're gonna use? Title 18, United States Code 242, that's deprivation of rights under the color of law. Now we're not going to read through this verbatim. I'm going to go to the next page, and we're going to go to Black's Law 5th edition, and we're going to read a synopsis of what that deprivation of rights color of law is. The color of law, the appearance or semblance without what? There is no substance to it. It's the appearance or semblance without substance. The emperor has no clothes. It's smoke and mirrors. That's what it is. Without substance or a legal right. Misuse of power. You've seen that a lot. Possessed by virtue of state law and made possible only because wrongdoer is clothed with authority of state. Is action taken under code. They're clothed with governor. They're clothed with the title of lieutenant governor. They're clothed with director of health. They're clothed with attorney general. And they're moving under the color of law. They're exceeding their jurisdiction. We've already given a limited seats of power. There's limited job descriptions they have. But then they're using their legalese and their syllogism to move in these different offices. That's what they're doing. Now let's go. Next one is Title 42, United States Code, 1983. That's simply just civil action for deprivation of rights. Now I'm going to go right here. Right here, the visual aid, orders, and mandates. It's Cruden versus Neal. I believe this is shepherdized. It says orders, rules, mandates, policies are not what?
Laws.
Those are not laws. Case in point, even the vaccination health passport card in Oahu, that's, I think it's resolution HR 21-194. The wording in it, it says, we strongly urge businesses to implement this. Strongly urge is not a law. It's a strong suggestion.
Yeah.
It's a recommendation.
Come on.
It's not a law. It's not a law. All this is, they're moving by the consent of the business owners, by consent of the people. That's what's happening.
They're not standing up.
Exactly. They're not standing up. And it's our obligation. I keep going back to that. It's our responsibility. It is our duty. 1776, them 13 colonies, they had that in them. No, we're going to rise up. Yeah. So,
The Black Road Regiment.
exactly, sir. Come on. So next one, mandates, rules, orders, or policies that require any of the people who are healthy without symptoms of communicable infection to quarantine or be under lockdown violates the supreme law of the land. Now in our state, we have one of those. It's Title 19, Hawaii Statute 325, Section 8. That's Title 19, Hawaii Statute 325, Section 8. It says if you have a communicable disease, you have to quarantine for the X amount of days. But if you don't have a communicable disease, you don't have to quarantine. So if I'm healthy, why do I have to quarantine? Prove that I'm sick. You can't. You need me to stick that PCR test up my nose to give me something else that's going to make me sick? No. You prove it. The burden of proof is on you, state, not on me. And according to Title 19 Hawaii Statute 325, Section 8, I don't have to quarantine.
Come on.
People ask me, if you flying over, you doing this? Like, you quarantine? I don't quarantine. I'm healthy. You prove it. Okay. All laws which are repugnant, which are contrary to the Constitution are what?
Null and void.
Null and void. Marbury versus Madison. Affidavit claims that the people have the constitutionally secured right to petition the government and redress grievance. You know that's Article 1, Section 4 of our state constitution. Affidavit claims to be in the private realm, not part of any government office. Even if you do work for the state or the county, you can still serve them. If you are in the military, still serve them. I have military people in Oahu that ask me, hey, I'm a soldier, I'm in the military, I serve you. I said, yes, you can. Because watch this, I'm serving the military in the public. But when I go home, I'm now in the private. Anything they try and enforce on me in the private, my freedom to worship God, my freedom to think a certain way, they cannot infringe on. So I get soldiers, they start serving for all their battalion commitment and stuff. It's awesome.
Soldiers are not the property of the government.
No, sir. So, Affidavit claims, Affidavit shares a common belief in God's naturally created immune system and has vowed not to take any vaccinations. Let me explain this. I am not against the vaccines. I am against the mandates.
Yeah.
I'm very specific with that.
Thank you.
Just like God put the tree of the knowledge of good and evil in the middle of the Garden of Eden and allowed Adam and Eve to partake of that, the same thing. You put a vaccine in front of me, I'm going to choose based off my own science, my own research, I'm not going to take it. But if someone else wants to take it, please. Now, we have many vaccinated people that still serve these. We do, because they don't believe in the mandate either.
Yes.
So we have to bring clarity to that. And so I get a lot of people who are like, man, thank you so much for clarifying that, because, I get a lot of, I'm against the vaccine mandates, but they said I took the vaccine, but I still support this. I said, man, praise God. Like, I'm the same boat with you. I'm not anymore. I'm not for it. God didn't make robots to just push a button and do what he wanted. No, he made us free will more agents. We can choose whatever we want to do. Okay, let's go. Vaccinations block the breathing system with a mask. I'm still on that second to last paragraph. Or to be forced to get and use a vaccine passport for Hawaii Smart Health Card. Therefore, government workers are prohibited from forcing, coercing, affidavit, or my kids from taking part in any of the requirements, including the testing of your policies and programs of any sort. Second to last paragraph is going to lock them in. We're making our statements. We're coming down with final, the right is going to come across. So the people having all political power and hiring servants to carry out their business never granted authority for those servants to force the people through programs or provision systems that are falsely presented as law. These are falsely presented as law. It is hereby affidavit's wish, order, and demand for all parties to show in the two documents that they swore an oath to, the United States Constitution and the Hawaii State Constitution, where you have been granted authority to bring force upon the people. If you fail to show these items within 5 days, you agree that you are working to attack the people against your trust and indenture Constitution and are knowingly trespassing against the rights of the people you swear to protect as declared in the Hawaii State Constitution, Article 16, Section 4. You further agree to pay $100 million per encroachment against the above mentioned rights. Why do we put it that high? If someone has a car, they have car insurance. Someone has a house, they have house insurance. When these people get elected as indentured servants, they have what's called an indemnity bond. The indemnity bond is worth millions, if not billions of dollars that props them up. So we're simply coming against the money to cut them off. That's all we're doing. That's why it's so high. And when I took it from Dave Jose, Josh Barnett, they said you have to keep it high because, yeah, you want to force everything. This is off. This is off. So now we're going. You further agree that if you don't respond with a sworn affidavit, they have to respond with a sworn affidavit. When they do respond to us, they'll respond with a letter from their lawyer, and we'll simply send a letter back. We have a letter. We'll send you guys the email. It's a soft document, soft copy that's an attachment to an email. It simply says, "Hey, Mr. Lawyer, we didn't send this to you. We sent it to our indentured servant. We need him to respond with a sworn affidavit, not you." We get Kai Kahele, Ed Case, Brian Schatz. They send letters. Hey, we're against the mandates. You know, we're working this and that, and we respond back. We didn't ask for a letter. We asked for a sworn affidavit. And all we're asking is, they're right here. Sworn affidavit showing constitutional provision within constitutional provisions, third to the last sentence, authorizing you to trample the people's rights within 5 days, that you agree to all the above mentioned facts. So all we're saying is, here's all our Bill of Rights. You, Mr. Servant, show us where in these Bill of Rights did you have the power and the authority to do what you're doing.
Oh, yes.
That's all we're asking them. And to respond with a sworn affidavit. That's all we're asking. And that no court shall re-examine. Let me say it again. No court shall re-examine this. We lock it in. Because we're not going through court. We're circumnavigating the courts. Because you go move through the courts, you move through statutes, through case law, we'll come with our Bill of Rights. We're not legal fiction, no. We're a living man, living woman. We are created by God. I have the ha of God. Genesis 2:7. He breathed into the man, became a living soul, a living being. That's who you are. The people, people say, I should run for God. I say, you can, but then you have no more power. It's like, what? Because the people have all the power. This is where the power is. It's not in those government cubicles and offices. No, the power is here. It's with the people. But until the people wake up and move in a lawful way, the government's going to keep doing what they're doing. So, you further agree, that this affidavit, we're going to move to the next page, last page. You further agree that this affidavit can be used as evidence of your wrongdoing, and the applicant reserves the right to take this before an arbitrator of applicant's choice. So what's happening here? So, how some people get remedy in the Big Island, they'll serve these to like their county department, or they'll serve to their school, or their bait clinic, or whoever, and then they'll ask them to meet with them and say, hey, what do you want? It's like, I don't want to take the vaccine. They're like, okay. I don't want to take any more tests. Okay. I want back pay for, okay. Let's just come back into work. Yeah. But the other one is, some people say, no, I don't want the mandate for anyone. So it just depends how you want to cross that. So with schools, with businesses, they'll ask to meet with you, and they'll discuss, hey, how can we remedy this? And you just simply state, hey, I don't want to test. I don't want to take the vaccination. This is my livelihood. I'm working, to put food on the table, to put, pay for the roof over my head. Yeah, that's it. Now, as far as the government, there are, there are patriot groups all over America that teach this. So Dave Jose, Josh Barnett, they started a movement. They taught the Affidavit Mamas, if you ever heard of them. They teach everyone. So Dave Jose, Josh Barnett, if you want to vet this work, please look them up. Dave Jose, Josh Barnett. They taught Candace Taylor and Garland Caparito down in Georgia to our full friends of God. They're pushing there. They helped out Bill Bailey, Matt DePerno in Michigan. I think Bill Bailey or Matt DePerno just got endorsed by Trump, I think, to be the Secretary of State up there in Michigan. They helped them out too with affidavits. They helped out Affidavit Mamas in Pennsylvania to serve, to help out Senator Mastriano to conduct the full friends of God in Pennsylvania. But then McCormick, I think, took it away from him, because now you got different, other indentured servants that aren't on board with doing the will of the people. You have other people in Virginia. I think they served Senator Amanda Chase. So there are people all over the country that are moving in this, that send these. Now watch what happens. You're going to wait for a response. What's going to happen is none of these affidavits have ever received a sworn affidavit as a response. Why? It's like a rhetorical affidavit, because there's no way they can find their power in our Bill of Rights. And it's our Bill of Rights that outlines the power of the people. We're the ones that spoke you, going back to the scripture, Genesis 1:26. Then God said, we just like God created the world by speaking, we spoke, hey, let there be a legislative branch, let there be an executive branch, let there be a judicial branch. And now we're saying, you judicial branch, you legislative branch, where'd you get the power to do this? They cannot respond. So how they respond is by letters, by their lawyers, and we we have a soft document, let's simply mail back, hey, respond with the sworn affidavit that I said in my affidavit. If you're not, so other people ask me, well, do they ever reach out to you? Yes. So in the Big Island, Mitch, that's our mayor, he calls up the pastors. So I meet with, myself, I pastor a church out in Hilo, and I have other pastors we meet. They call the pastors, Mitch, he's like, hey, can we meet privately? So I want to talk about the affidavit that you guys keep sending me, like, that's pretty heavy. The pastor's like, what do you want? And Mitch is like, can we meet privately? He's like, well, no. He's like, then the pastor's like, why don't you come and meet with the group that meets every Thursday? Meet with your constituents. Meet with the people who got you elected. And he said, well, you know, my lawyers advised that I shouldn't do that. And then the pastors, they tell Mitch, they're like, hey, if you're not going to talk to me in that capacity, I don't want to meet with you privately. You send a sworn affidavit responding to that. And they leave it at that. So call different people in the community, and that's what it is. So they'll never send a response in the affidavit form because it shows our Bill of Rights. Yeah. So then people ask, well, what's the next step then? I already told you what happens with businesses, the county. You know, they'll probably ask to meet with you. They'll try and come to a remedy of some sort very quickly at that. So with the indentured servants, what we're moving to next, the next leg of it, we'd have to get our grand juries back. So we have different jural assemblies in the different islands that are moving to get the jural assemblies back to create the grand jury of the people, which according to our United States Constitution, that is the power of the people to indict these indentured servants. So people say, well, then how do we enforce that? Well, you also have another petition, we're petitioning to institute and to elect constitutional sheriffs as the enforcement arm of our 4 different counties. They're already moving now, even now, as we speak. So there are movements out there within our state that are moving towards that. Because we need to have mechanisms to hold them accountable. And there's no statute of limitation on these. Even if they leave, we still get them. Because what they're doing is evil. You know, it's demonic. It's not right. It's tyrannical. So the process to do this now, we'll go back to the first page. If you do choose to notarize this, we have a notary here, Pastor Ophelia. She can help you out after this. So all you would do, usually on Oahu, the big one that everyone always does, like we do David Ige, John Green, Claire Connor, she's the Attorney General. We do Elizabeth Char, she's the Director of Health, and then they do their mayor, Lanjardi. If some of you guys want to do that, you could do the top 4, David Ige, Josh Green, Claire Connors, Elizabeth Char, and then you could do your mayor here, if you want to do that. What other people do, they take these blanks and they serve it to their schools or to their employer. So if you want to say serve it to like an employer or to the county, you would serve it to, one would be to your employer, it would be to the HR department. You definitely want to do the HR department. Once the HR department gets it, it will be disseminated through all the departments of the business. That's the fastest way to get everyone, hey, did you guys see that? Yeah. We got to meet with them now. Yes, so you want to hit the HR department. Also, you want to hit any people that hold any seats of power. Anyone that makes any type of decision in regards to mandating any sort of thing with new tests, vaccines, you want to include them. You want to put them there. So say you fill out, there's 6 spots. Say you fill out 5. Once you get this notarized, you want to make 5 color copies of this affidavit. Now, to save you guys some money, you could just color copy the first and the last page that's going to have the notary seal. The rest of the inside, just do black and white. Then go through with a highlighter and just highlight all the ones that we highlighted. The reason why we highlight it is so that you can catch the eye of these indentured servants or your bosses. You can see like, oh, wow, let's call them right now. We're off. Yeah, that's what it's supposed to do. So just save you guys money. Only color copy the first and the last page. The rest do black and white, 2 through 6, those pages, and just highlight it. And then what you're going to do, you make those 5 color copies or 4 color copies, however many you fill out of the 2. You're going to send it certified mail to them. And you're going to need an envelope. You're going to need also the literature from the United States Postal Service, the certified receipt. Because we want certified receipt. Once they get it, we're going to get a receipt back that lets us know that we have it. And we already have those over here. That's the certified receipt. We also have the envelopes and everything over here. Everything, we took the thing out of the room. Everything is here for you guys across that bridge. So yeah. And then I'm almost done, and I'll take your first and then the other one second. So then what you're gonna do, once you get it back, and they don't respond in the 5 days, The 5 days starts, the clock starts once they get the document.
Okay.
You have 5 days. If they do not respond, we email you a soft doc that you're gonna get. It's a courtesy note saying, hey, you didn't respond to the affidavit. You have 3 days more to respond. If they don't respond, I'll take the original affidavit along with the certified receipt. With the receipt I got from sending it, I will take that to the county recorder's office. Not the court, the county recorder's office, and I will file it there. If they don't let you in, I heard you can test. You test out positive, you can go in. If you don't want to take the test, find someone who's vaccinated, who's down with the cause, have them file it for you. Amen.
Can you repeat that last line again about the record?
The county recorder's office,
Yeah.
I want to file it there.
File
The original affidavit and the receipt that you get. Now it becomes lawful. So this would be, eventually, if they don't lift the mandates, we get our grand juries back, which we're in the process of doing right now as we speak, all the counties. This will be used as the evidence. That's what this will be for. There are other groups. I have different churches that are actually coming together, churches, and they're doing class action lawsuits. Not in court, but at court. So we're still not going in, but we're doing it at court. So there's many different ways, there's more than one ways to skin a cat.
Yes.
We're gonna leave no stone unturned. So, yeah, but we have to hold them accountable. Because what they're doing is evil, and it's unthinkable what they're doing. And the thing is, if they can mandate this, something to go inside of our bodies, they can mandate anything. It's not just, it's for our kids, and our grandkids, our great. If we don't stand up now,
You're a slave.
yes, exactly. And so in the end, these trustees, according to the Bill of Rights in Vermont, it says these indentured servants, these trustees, they are our servants. And it says at all times they are amenable to us. It means they're answerable to us. They're accountable to the people. But until the people get something that's lawful. Now, pretty much, what is an affidavit? Affidavit is a printed or written statement of fact. So I'm not making statements of feelings. I feel, disenfranchised. No, my kid can't play sports. I can't go into Zippy's and get my favorite, chili with the extra mayonnaise that I like. I can't do that. I'm disenfranchised. So I'm making statements of facts. Secondly, it's made voluntarily. No one's holding a gun to your head. No one has machete chasing you, wheeling. It's made on my own volition. Just like the Minutemen, they made the call. Whoever wanted to answer the call stepped up with their guns. That's what it is. Whoever wants to step up, that's it. So it's made out of my own volition. Number 3, it's made under oath. Why do we do it under oath? Because now it's under the penalty of perjury. Title 28, Section United States Code 1746. It's for the penalty of perjury. That means it's equal recompense. In other words, if I throw a punch, the government can throw a punch back. But watch this. Because we're only coming from our Bill of Rights of our state and of all the other states in the document, they have nowhere they can go. Yeah. So we have equal recompense. Then fourthly, it's administered, the oath is administered by someone who's been authorized to give it. That's what the notary is. That's how we're circumventing that. We don't have to go before a magistrate or a judge. No. So we move with that. And the last one, the verification, the penalty of perjury. That's what locks it in. So that's what an affidavit is, and that's why we're using this. And I don't know if you guys have heard of Mike Lindell.
Oh, yeah.
He had the symposium that was going on.
Yes.
And they had Dr. Frank, Seth Keshel, and Professor Clements, and they had all this election, fraud and this and that. They had a lot, which is awesome. But how can you use it? So they went around in the audience and they asked people, hey, how's it going in your state? How's it going in your city? And they asked, and I think about maybe 6 or 7 different people from different states. These were the only people that were getting any sort of remedy or resolution. They asked, they said, how are you doing? They said, we've been sending in affidavits. Another one, Senator Chase, she said, right before signing die, that's when the legislature shuts down. She said, right before signing die, I had 4,100 affidavits served to me. So I took it into the, said this is Virginia, into the legislature, right? And she said, I served them because that's the will of the people. Yeah.
Wow.
So they start serving. So all the movements around the country, the only movements that are getting any remedy is affidavits.
Right.
So that's where I took it from. It was, like I said, Dave Jose, Josh Barnett. One's a car mechanic, the other one's a gym owner. They are not lawyers. Matter of fact, none of these movements use lawyers at all. And any of the lawyers that do come in, they rip up their bar cards. They actually, yeah, because they realize they're on the same team. Yeah. So with that said, that's the entirety of the affidavit presentation. Open up for question. Yes, ma'am.
Do we need to put page 1 of whatever on the bottom of this and initial each page?
You don't have to. Yeah. If you want to, you can. Yes. But you don't have to. Yeah. I get what you're saying. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Yes, sir.
First of all, I want to thank you for being here today.
Yeah.
You're welcome, sir.
Question I have for you, are you aware of any responses from anybody that sent this in?
Yes, sir.
Are they coming back and what kind of response are we getting?
Yeah. They send emails. And it's always their lawyers.
Yeah.
You know, hey, da da da, we're against this. And then we already emailed the soft document. They simply email it back to them. I'm not talking to you, Mr. Lawyer. I'm talking to my servant. Have them respond to an affidavit. Because they're trying to circumnavigate the affidavit. Yeah, they're trying to, yeah. And then the other ones, they'll send letters. But for business, especially for schools, places of employment, they'll call to meet with you. And they'll try to remedy this as quick as possible. That's what they'll do. Or they'll try and find wiggle room, how they can still have you mandate. It's like, no, according to my Bill of Rights, Article 1, Section 4 of our state constitution, you cannot enact a law that prohibits the free exercise of my religion. And according to my religion, I don't need this to function. Yeah.
So all the responses, the individuals will end up having to go to court?
Now watch this. If you notice in the affidavit, it says no court shall re-examine this.
Yeah.
We stay out of court. That's for statute. That's for legal fiction. That's for, yeah. Yeah. So we stay out of that. We come directly to our initial service. Yeah.
The other question I had was, who put this together?
So it's other patriots. It goes from California, New York, and Arizona, and then myself. Yeah. And we have other people that just move through it, and then we serve. And we serve. So they have movements. What happened was, I learned it from my church. I was in a prayer meeting with my church men, the men of my church, the others, and then and we felt a grace in there to move to protect our community somehow. And I came across David and Josh. Man, good guys. They love God. They're simple guys. You know, one's a mechanic, the other one's a gym owner. They just want to live life, you know, and have their kids. And then what happened? They showed the process how they studied law, Bill of Rights, and a way to formulate it's actually the way they use the words. They actually wrote affidavits for President Trump. They gave him to Sidney Powell, General Flynn, and I think Patrick Byrne. Those three went to the White House, you know, right before January 6th. There's a lot of commotion going on. And you know, the White House has their own counsel too. And they had the counsel for President Trump. Well, the Secret Service, they like Sidney Powell and General Flynn, Patrick Byrne, so they slipped them in without the White House knowing. They come to the Oval Office, they meet with President Trump, they're meeting with 15 minutes. They're like, you have the power to do this. You can take this back, and we can rectify this. Well, 15 minutes into the conversation, in came the White House counsel, the lawyers. And they told Trump, they're like, what are you doing? You're not supposed to be meeting with these people. And then General Flynn, he calls out one of the lawyers, he's like, do you believe he's the rightful president of the United States? And the lawyer said, I can't answer that.
Whoa,
And then General Flynn was like, but you're representing him? And General Flynn was like, he was about to throw a punch at the guy, like, what are you doing? Yeah. So even the counsel, the lawyers that were around Trump, they weren't even for him either. So what happened? So these guys, after that, they wrote affidavits to serve to the 5 border supervisors from Maricopa County. And Steve Chukri was the one that met with them. And also the Senate President Karen Fann, that actually conducted the audit. They met with her and they taught her. That's why, if you notice, she never used the word fraud. The reason why, that's why all those court cases got thrown out, because they use the word fraud. If you look at our affidavit, it doesn't say fraud, it says maladministration. It's simply if you do anything wrong, according to our Bill of Rights. That's it. It's the wording you use that puts you into a certain jurisdiction. So when you say fraud, you have to prove fraud. That's why Lynn Wood got punked out by that judge in Michigan. I love Lynn Wood too. You have Sidney Powell that's getting pressed by different places. Even Rudy Giuliani, he got his bar license stripped in New York because they used the word fraud. You just used maladministration. You could prove that. You can already see the ballots were off, the machines weren't vetted. Matter of fact, we have a notice for a full forensic audit. If you guys want one, we can email it to you. Because if we have good people, you know, people in the community that, you know, I'd rather pick a plumber to leave the state than one of these bureaucrats. So if we get the right person in there, but then the ballots are still off. The machines they still use are not vetted or anything. Even if we get the right people in there, the machines are going to flip it. If you notice, the state of Hawaii was called by 7 or 8 o'clock, but people were still voting till 11, past 11 at night. So that's off. I mean, you can see it. So even in the notice we have for the full forensic audit, it's not for risk limit audit. It's for everything. It's for canvassing. Case in point, when they canvassed Arizona, this parking lot, like for example in Arizona, they say like they'd have like 125 people voting from the address to the parking lot. They have like 200 people voting from the address to that field right there. That's what they had when you canvass. So we put it all in the notice. Even we don't want a risk limit audit, we want a full forensic audit. So like a risk limit audit, let me give you an example.
Are you talking about the state of Hawaii right now?
Yes, ma'am. Because in Article 4, Section 2, Paragraph 1 of our United States Constitution, no citizen is better than the other. That means Arizona is not better than Hawaii. So if they can have a full forensic audit, we should have one too.
Yeah,
So
come
we
on.
should demand it from our indentured service.
Just wondering.
So in a risk limiting audit, say if we have 2 million ballots, so, give or take, say 20% of the ballots are good. Then say like another 20% say they have no chain of custody. Say another 15%, those people moved away like 10 years ago, but they're still voting here somehow. And then say another 20% say they have no signatures whatsoever. In a risk limiting audit, they'd only take the 20% of the ballots that were good, and they would audit those. But in a full forensic audit, they'd look at everything. So even Michigan, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, they said they did, audits already. No, they did risk limiting audits. They only audited the votes that were good, the ballots that were lawful. They didn't audit the other ones that were off. So we also have a notice, there's a movement even in Oahu, I believe, as of now. We also have a notice that we can send in. You do not have to get a notice notarized or send it certified mail. Just get it printed out on legal size paper and just send it. And the more people we can get sending it in there, the better to demand a full forensic audit.
Who does that go to?
That would go to David Egan and the county officials. Yeah, whoever's in charge of the elections, we want to serve them. Of course, email that to them. Yes, ma'am.
So if we put here like charter school principal or elementary school, how effective is this going to be because they're dominating state, ruled by the state?
Right.
It's the same like I want the library because I kind of show a card and everything in the library. That's what put me over the edge.
Right.
It's really put me over the edge.
Right.
So isn't it just best to send this to the state and the governor, mayor?
So, yeah, so what some people do, they'll even include the school, or the library, whoever the people are that make the decisions for that. And they'll also include, like David E. Gave, they'll also include, the religious charge, who's in charge of the director of health. Yeah.
Because the school can't do it, their hands are tied.
They still can make exceptions.
They can make exceptions?
So that's what they do. They'll actually come back, they'll actually ask people,
Oh.
they'll try and discuss it, right? That's what they do.
And this would even include not having to wear a mask to go to class.
That's on you, what you want to stand by on the Bill of Rights. Yes, sir.
That's what they were doing before. I mean, you could use a religious exemption, right, to not have your children not go to private events, and it's an exemption.
Yeah, and the exemption eventually they'll take it away because now it's just a privilege.
But staff, even with religious exemptions, are still having to test it every week.
Yes, every week.
And then it's gonna be paid.
And eventually-
It's their time, because it's free now.
Yeah.
If they can go to a free clinic, if they choose to do it full time.
Right.
So they're not getting paid to go. So that's where, and when somebody on staff was getting COVID vaccine, they were getting paid time off.
And that's the thing, so they're disenfranchised.
That's
If you
right.
look at the Bill of Rights, it says, these are instituted solely for the good of the whole. It's not just the good of the vaccinated or the unvaccinated. Because the wording in the Bill of Rights, if you look at several of the Bill of Rights, Texas, Georgia, Vermont, it says for the good of the whole. It's not just for the vaccinated, it's for the unvaccinated, it's for everyone. Like I said, I'm not against people taking anything they want to take. You can do crack cocaine if you want, you could do whatever you want to do. But don't mandate stuff, don't force people to do that stuff. Questions, yes, ma'am?
Yeah, so, okay, I think you already answered it, but, so my daughters are at KCC, and they're unvaccinated, and can I just be honest with y'all, that we survived COVID, so I don't wanna scare people here, but we did. We had it, we survived it, we didn't take the vaccine, our natural God-given immunity saved our lives. Now, the school knows that. So one professor told the whole class, my daughter shouldn't even come back. which was already a discrimination.
Right.
Secondly, they can't even go to the admissions office now at KCC. No one can go into the admissions office to get even an exemption form unless you have the green vaccine card. So I can do this to them, KCC.
Yes.
I don't have to do a religious exemption. I'd rather do this.
Yes,
Because you said it's a privilege. If you go exemption, then you're making a privilege. Well, this is my right.
yes.
Okay, so we're gonna do that.
Now,
And
let
then
me
my
explain that
school
real
is the
quick before you
same.
move on.
Huh?
So let me explain
I'm a
that before you
teacher,
move on.
so.
So some people in the big island, they do both. They do the religious exemption, but at the same time they serve this, and then we're not cross. Because in the end, you choose the better one.
So you can do
Yeah.
both?
Yes, you can do both.
Because but the lawyers at Liberty Something Online is a free Christian
Yeah.
lawyer, pro bono lawyer said, if you do what they tell you to do, you might avoid a lot of stress, but also they have that business here.
See, that's what I'm saying. So they may, but then eventually some of those schools, they're gonna be like, hey, they're gonna take it away from you.
Yeah.
Just like Mayor Blangiardi in Honolulu, they said, all the frontline workers, you guys won't have to test, but now all of a sudden, you say,
Yeah.
you guys are gonna have to test. Now people are like, wait, what? Now, yeah, so it's the same thing, so they
One
can
more
take away
thing,
the
I'm so
executive.
sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
I just want to get this out before I forget, and I'm so sorry. I'm a teacher at Chiefus, and one of my colleagues, who's a big forourrights.org supporter, and his child died almost of vaccination. 2 children, they're being fed by tubes in their body. He got terminated. He was escorted off the campus by people. And he was for our rights people, and he gave him an affidavit, gave him everything. He was still terminated. He's out.
Did they ever file the affidavit in the county recorder's office?
I know he gave the principal,
As long as
but
they
they were,
have the
he was
affidavit.
taken out before
See,
he even got a response.
That's the thing though, if he served them already, that's already, you know what I'm saying, he can still use that as evidence, yeah. But he wasn't required, you should not quit, you should have them fired. You should have them fired,
But
if
he
you want to
didn't
cross that
quit.
bridge.
They escorted him off the campus, and now he's not there. And the kids are asking,
Yeah.
where's our favorite
As long as
coach?
it's
Where's
wrong,
coach?
exactly,
Yeah.
so once, if he already served them, he should take his time and then whatever he needs to find
Oh,
out.
the lawsuits are coming. A
Did they
lot.
fire him because he served this? They fired him because he refused to take testing. It was either you're gonna get vaccinated or you're gonna test every week. And he said, I'm not doing either, and I'm leaving the month, which is for sure all right. But they took him right off campus. Escorted him off.
So with this affidavit, and I'll get to you after this, with this affidavit, I started in the Big Island. I had a counterpart in Maui that was doing it as well, teaching the classes. But then I realized that Oahu is such a big, concentrated, population. So I told my sister, we have to pray with, and I said, hey, call up Oahu, see if there's another church or something out there that I could teach whoever, 5 people, whatever. I went out there and I ended up teaching at a church, and they started running with it. I don't know if you guys ever saw those protests down in Waikiki, thousands of people down there.
Yeah.
So 2 main groups that's doing that, Aloha Freedom Coalition and Knights of Aloha.
But it's not on the news,
Well,
so we didn't see it that
Exactly.
way.
So I ended up hooking up with them, and they ended up having me come out to their different functions. So I started teaching them, and what they realized, like even in these different auspices, like man, the more people that know, we get protests, we get signing petitions. Same time we get affidavits. Every different platform just going. Yeah, it's gonna come. It's coming to a
Is it getting better?
pinnacle. I even have Hawaiian sovereigns in the Big Island that they said, because they send in, I get some people, they send affidavits, and they're like, because they don't believe in the mandates, and they realize like, man, I had another guy in the wall, he's like, man, this whole time he's like, I was moving in court, but he's like, what you're doing is like, you're staying out of court. I was like, yeah, I don't have to go to court. I can go directly to my servants. And so, even the way they're moving within the court system, this is very different now. Like they realize that people know their rights, and they're waking up. Ephesians 5:14 says, awake you who sleep, arise from the dead, Christ will give you light. And it's more of those lights, people waking up. I can use that here in terms of the rights of the people. The more people that wake up and take that initiative, take that responsibility, our obligation, our duty, to teach, to correct, even rebuke our indentured servants, the better it will be for our children, our children's children, and so on.
So if we don't do this today, we can take this document and copy it and give it to other people.
After a notary, right?
But then they can further go ahead and fill it out and notarize it and serve it.
The other people that you say, if you make copies and give it out to them,
Yeah.
you can, with me, teach it to them first. Or we're gonna put them on a Zoom. We have Zooms. At least have them watch it so they understand it in its entirety. Yeah, yes ma'am.
That was my question is, if you had ever, your presentation that you just did had never been recorded.
There's like different people like, I think Hawaii Freedom Choice, Surfing for Truth.
Oh, they did it too, okay.
Yeah, they film stuff and they just put it on Instagram or
Yeah,
YouTube and
I
yeah.
followed that.
But the whole presentation, I actually have a PowerPoint that I use that teaches all of this. And even the people that come to the presentations, like, I even give it to them, anyone who requests it.
Yeah.
So we'll
Just
get
so-
contact information for you too?
Yeah, you actually put your
So we
email on
can-
there, and then what happens right there, the sign up right there, it's an email, you put down, and you say you want the PowerPoint presentation, we'll send it to you. Because, people ask, well, how much do you charge? And I'm like, I don't charge nothing, because it's the freedom, it's the people. How could I, if you guys do want to donate, and God put something on your heart, you got a little thing over there somewhere, y'all can donate to the cause. That's how we do it.
Praise God.
But,
Yes.
but it's the people's. So if you need the PowerPoint, soft docs, you can teach other people, teach it. The more people that know, the better. So, yeah. Yes, Margaret.
Also, we're recording you on Monday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're recording on Monday. I'll fly back out to Oahu tomorrow, and we'll do a rally out there, I guess. And then Monday we'll have another presentation.
And so
Record that.
when we sign up for that email, then we'll be in the loop and they know, like these kinds of things that they know to us.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, all the Zooms, we're always doing Zooms, and
Okay.
I'll always go and speak. The Zooms are good, but then also the presentations in person, it just helps.
Yeah.
And even with the PowerPoint, like everything will just be real big, like, oh wow. So if you have friends or loved ones that you want to teach or show, we'll send you everything. And just so that people can learn. Yeah, yes ma'am.
So I got a question. I work for the state, so I know I'm gonna put this on government e-gate. I got a job offer at White County, and right now they're reviewing my exemption, my religious exemption submittal.
Right.
And it's been 2 weeks already, and they said the girl that reviews it has been out, so.
They're just trying to run out the clock.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's happening. So, can I put the county mayor, or do I do HR?
You can do the county mayor. Did you already get accepted into the job yet?
Yes, I signed their form accepting it.
Okay, so you already have a job.
Well,
I think it's
they
dependent on
said
the
it's depending on the review, if they accept it or not.
No,
My exemption.
Did they send you a letter
They sent me a letter.
that you have the job?
They sent me a letter offering the job to me, and if I accept it or decline it, and I signed it.
You accepted it.
Yes, I did.
You're an employee. By law, you're an employee.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but they said I can't go further until my exemption is reviewed. So I'm in limbo right now,
Yeah.
so I can.
I served them,
that.
That's where you have
served them the
the
affidavit.
Okay, and then, so I have that, and then if there's, other places, I.
So if you want to send it to other, say like a eatery, or say a library, say whatever, you have to get something else notarized. It's pretty different, yeah.
Oh, okay, so,
Yeah.
okay, I get it.
Pastor JR, can we just notarize it and keep it blank, make copies, and then you can put
No, you
the
can't.
No, I
names?
think
You
you
don't,
have to
Still
use
use
it
it?
first, right?
no, you don't have to fill this out first.
Oh,
You
Yeah.
just notarize it,
oh,
and then, yeah, and then just send it.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So keep the front,
Yep.
blank,
Yeah.
make
Blank.
have it notarized, make copies as much
Copies.
as much of it you want.
And send
And
them
then
out.
as you need it, you just change the first,
Yep,
oh, okay.
yeah.
The first piece,
Thank
yeah.
you, Pastor.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
that's good. And then he said recording at the county.
Okay, so you recorded at the county recorder's office. That over here, I don't know. I'm not
I
from
know
the
the
island.
Fifth Circuit Court is state.
No, not court, county. Recorder.
Record liens,
Yep,
titles,
yes.
Title?
You do your names and titles.
for like real estate and that kind of stuff.
Bureau of Conveyance?
Well, with that said, we have a notary
They can help
here.
you find it if they don't.
She's ready to notarize. We have envelopes. We have everything you guys would need to even notarize. If you have any other questions, I'll still be around and answering questions. But God bless you guys. Thank you guys again for coming. Thank you guys so much. Yeah.
Is this document available online?
We can email it to you. Once you put your name on email, we can send you a soft document.